This is episode 2 of the OverRaided Podcast. Welcome, everybody. We no longer have Peter on the show, unfortunately, but we did get Charles to come in for today.
Hello.
People may know him as Airdra from... Airdra, you actually came over with us from...
Lex Talionis.
Yeah, that's it. You have a tune-in Overrated, don't you?
I'm so sorry. Say again, please.
You have a tune-in Overrated, don't you?
Yes. I still have Airdra. Oh dear, hang on. Some others. I've forgotten, unfortunately.
How long has it been since you played World of Warcraft?
Well, I actually came... Hang on, am I coming through?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I actually came back late last year, and I spent a couple of months back in the game, mostly checking out the Stronghold system. And it was enjoyable, but it just doesn't keep me anymore, unfortunately. So before that, it had been probably about 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Are you planning on coming back for Legion?
Not at launch. I probably will later on.
So, what kind of games have you guys been playing this week? Joe, I just want to start with you. Jay?
Oh, sorry. I was like, what?
Zoning out.
Let me turn you up a little bit. I'm having trouble hearing you. I been playing a lot of Halo.
You just got your Xbox back, right?
Yeah.
Was it just yesterday? Because that's the first time I've actually seen you playing on.
Yeah, it was just yesterday. I mean, I was playing Heroes of the Storm all week, and then since last night, I probably played like 25 matches in Halo.
Anything other than Heroes of the Storm and Halo?
No, not really. I haven't even really touched Clicker Heroes. I'm thinking about picking up Rocket League, though, and I want to get Rise of the Tomb Raider.
When does Rocket League actually come out for the Xbox?
I think it's out now.
That's a game I have zero interest in.
Well, I mean, I love cars and I love soccer, so...
Anybody have any interest in Quantum Break?
No, I don't think so. I haven't heard of it yet.
It's kind of like a weird social experiment that they're doing with it. I think it's kind of similar to what they tried to do with God, what's the name of that show that they have for the Sci-Fi Channel?
I know the one you're talking about.
But they're kind of including a sort of TV series into the actual game, not an actual TV series that's going to be airing on live television, but depending on the choices that you make throughout the game, you'll get different cutscenes that play out with live-action actors. One of the big things that we actually had in the news for this week on that, specifically for that game, is they are allowing you to get the Windows 10 version of the game for free as long as you pre-order the Xbox One version of the game through the Xbox Store before the release date. And it's going to have cross-platform save functionality, so you'll be able to start your game on one platform, save it, and then pick up where you left off on the Windows 10 version, and then vice versa.
Now that's a good feature.
Something I wish they'd do with more games.
Absolutely.
Are we going to talk about... I'm sorry, no, never mind.
Go ahead.
Keep going.
Go ahead.
I'm really excited to talk about, like, the one thing that I think everybody wants to talk about, or I would hope they all do, and that was Deadpool.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come up.
But let's continue doing what we're doing.
I'm going to go see it today.
When we go to Deadpool, let's make sure we keep any spoilers out of it, because I haven't seen it yet either. And to be honest with you, with the amount of crap that they have in the film, which is perfectly fine, I'm a little anxious to actually go and see it at the theater.
What do you mean? Why?
I would probably be embarrassed in the movie theater with the amount of crap that they have shown in the movie. Which is perfectly fine. I just don't know if I want to be around a bunch of other people when I watch it.
You'd be embarrassed.
I have an anxiety condition.
Okay. I kind of knew that, but I don't know. I thought it was all pretty tame.
Dirty jokes or...
More like shit flying out that you don't normally see in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Oni, what have you been playing this week?
Let's see. Just last night alone, we were playing a lot of couch co-op games. I was doing like Castle Crashers, and something came up. Like I wanted to play Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and it turns out that was delisted in December 2014. So it's no longer available for even download if you have it. So luckily, I still have it on a PlayStation 3. So because Xbox 360s are prone to break, I no longer have that game on my 360. So I was a little disappointed about that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, like every single and then I wanted to play like Outrun, and that game got delisted too. So it just made me go back to a lot of older consoles. We were playing some Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, like Virtual Cop and stuff like that, and Star Wars. So I've been playing the Old Republic again.
Ooh,
I missed my
good choice.
Dreamcast.
I know the one thing you haven't been playing recently has been World of Warcraft.
Yeah, about that, I had to unsub, but I do plan on coming back. It's just that I had an issue with my bank account, so I just opened up 4 new accounts. So once I have everything in order, I will be coming back to World of Warcraft for Tuesdays and Thursday night raiding.
Sure you didn't spend too much in Star Wars: The Old Republic?
Only, I might be up to maybe $400 now since January 20th.
Damn.
Good God.
Yeah.
Well, although I won't deny I have spent some money in that game myself.
Yeah, but is there even enough stuff in their store to spend $400 on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's
yes.
It's been a while since I've gone back to that game.
Yep.
But you won because you spent all the money, right?
What's that?
You
Pay to
won the
win?
game, though, because you spent all the money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't spend all, there's certain packs that I want to get, but, yeah. You don't need to spend money, but I like the cosmetic, looks of certain packs and items.
What about you, Charles? What have you been playing the last couple weeks?
Minecraft, nothing but Minecraft, and also Minecraft. I decided that I really needed a mushroom farm so that I could make rabbit stew because it gives you more food than anything else. And I didn't realize rabbit stew doesn't function. I mean, it doesn't stack in your inventory, so you really can't carry that around, which means that I built 2 enormous towers for mushroom growing, and it's completely worthless. So I have spun my wheels all week.
Charles, now you know Orakill, don't you, from World of Warcraft?
I'm afraid not, at least not in detail.
Well, I may introduce you to her on Facebook later on because I know she does a lot of stuff with Minecraft.
Oh, that's cool.
But for the stuff that I've been playing recently, I've been sick the last week or so I haven't been doing as much as I would have liked. But I, of course, have been playing Crashlands like I told you guys about the last time we did the podcast. That's a game that they have for the mobile, and they do have a PC version as well. And that's actually another game that has the cross-platform save functionality, so you can actually buy the PC version and buy the mobile version, then sync up your saves in between them and play whichever one you want, whenever you want.
That's pretty awesome.
I still haven't forked out another $15 for the PC version. I just play it on the mobile because it's something I can pick up and do every once in a while. I also been playing Marvel Heroes, which I kind of got talked into by somebody else that actually does podcasting like this. It's very similar to Diablo in the way that it plays. It's just a really kind of shitty version of it. But there's a ton of different heroes in it in comparison to what Diablo has. And of course, if you like the Marvel Universe, you may just like the game basically for the theme of it. But the way it works right now is you can play any character that you want from level 1 to 10 to get a feel for the character. You can activate one character to go up to the level cap, which is level 60. And then from then on, you can either pay money to activate new characters, or you can collect currency in the game that you can actually get enough to activate another character over about somewhere between 10 to 15 hours of play to activate new characters from then on.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, it's something that you can throw time at if you have plenty of extra time, but I've been playing Deadpool on that just because I love Deadpool's humor.
Yeah, well, I mean, who doesn't?
I've been a fan since '96.
But the question to that is, a lot of times some of that humor doesn't exactly translate to the games. Do you feel like the humor of the character is well presented in the game?
Well, one of the big things that's kind of funny with Deadpool is one of his abilities in the game is to teleport because he stole Cable's teleporter. And the reason, or one of the big themes with the character is he cheats in the game, and so he kind of acts overpowered. So I kind of feel that his humor translates well to the game myself, but everyone's going to have their own opinion. What else have I been playing? Let's see. I've been taking some light stabs at Mark of the Ninja. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that game. It's kind of like a small side-scroller stealth/ninja game. But you have to check it out if you want. But
is it sort of like Shadow Complex?
I've never actually played Shadow Complex. What kind of game is that?
It's like it's kind of like Contra, or like where you can go back and forth and stuff like that, and like you pick up weapons and upgrades, and like you become way more badass as the game progresses.
Well, I'd say it's kind of similar to that because it is a side-scrolling platformer, but in terms of like the stuff that you pick up, it's mainly things you can pick up to like boost your score for the end of the level. The actual upgrades that you get, I think, are actually upgrades that you get along the way. I haven't actually progressed past like the third level in it though, so I haven't actually got to look at any of the upgrades that they have available in the game. And of course, I've been occasionally taking some time for Clicker Heroes, but you know how that goes, Jay.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry, what's Clicker Heroes? That one I'm not familiar with.
It's a complete waste of time, where all it is monsters pop up on the side of the screen, you do damage by clicking on them, and when they die, they drop gold. You spend the gold to buy new heroes to increase your damage, and you keep on going and going and going. It's just a complete waste of time.
It's a mobile game, I'm guessing?
They may have it on mobile, but they have it for the PC as well.
Oh, okay. See, I'd play that mobile. That's something easy to pull out in the bathroom, but I don't know that I'd play that on PC as much.
Well, with the PC version, I'm not sure if it's the same for the mobile version if they have it, but you can buy heroes that just increase your innate DPS, so the damage will just keep on going even if you're not doing anything. So you can just leave it open on the screen, sitting off to the side, playing itself.
It's like Progress Quest. Any of you guys play Progress Quest?
No.
Nope.
Progress Quest was a parody back in the day where it was an MMO that played itself, and there were no graphics exactly. All it was a progress bar that would fill up repeatedly, and then there was another progress bar which would fill up based on that. So it would be like, the first progress bar would be something like, acquiring 14 knoll testicles. And then the next progress bar would, of course, be your level. And it would just do that for hours and come up with these bizarre quests. It was fun to watch, but it was not more fun than 5 minutes was worth.
You couldn't just like leave it running?
You could, but there wasn't much of a point. It just didn't. It didn't like get any funnier at any point. It was just the same joke after a while.
And of course, I actually finally went back and finished Mortal Kombat X for the Xbox One. I am so rusty on fighting games. That was just painful. Because I think the last one that I actually played was back for the Xbox, the original Xbox, I think it was. And before that, it was actually Mortal Kombat 2 for the Sega, so it's definitely different trying to play a fighting game with a analog stick instead of the original D-pad, which was what I was used to. Trying to pull off some of those combos is a little tricky.
Every time I play like Mortal Kombat or anything like that on the newer consoles, I always just use the D-pad.
I might as well give that a try, but I've already actually finished the campaign of it, so there may not be a reason to anymore. Because I don't know if I really want to try to delve back into it, because if you want to be good at a fighting game, you really need to dedicate a lot of time to it. And, of course, stay with it.
That is why I don't play fighting games at all.
So when do you think you're going to be picking up Rocket League?
Probably in a couple days. I got a trip I'm taking to Chicagoland here in the next... I'm leaving on Thursday and won't be back home until the following Monday, so it'll probably be right after that. So next week.
You look like you're awfully tired.
I haven't actually been able to sleep more than 2 or 3 hours a night for the past couple of days because I'm scrambling to try to get all kinds of stuff from my house or whatever. So
yeah, I saw you were asking for furniture on Facebook.
Yeah, but yeah,
just lost Oni.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're
I
back.
don't see your camera.
Yep, you're back. I see you.
There we go.
I'm actually looking forward to The Division, though.
From what I heard, that's kind of similar to Destiny, so I wasn't sure if you'd like that.
I don't mind games like that. I just don't want to play something that's like my biggest issue with Destiny was sort of the combination of factors. So it's not that it's a grind that bothers me, because I don't mind a grind every now and then. And it's not that you're kind of rehashing the same thing over and over again. It's that you're doing all of that in like a space environment. And I'm just kind of like, if I'm going to be in space doing stuff, I'm just going to play Halo. I've only got enough space in my life for that kind of thing.
The thing that kind of threw me off with The Division, though, is it's a Tom Clancy game that they really strive for, like, being realistic with their games. And they're taking the approach of, like, the game is going to actually play out a little bit more like, say, Borderlands, where you can shoot somebody like a dozen times in the head and they're still not going to die. Yeah.
I saw that. I watched like 45 minutes of video that this guy captured from the beta, and I thought it looked pretty good. It kind of reminded me of like a cross between Gra and Destiny, probably.
Now, which platform are you going to be picking it up for?
Oh, for the Xbox.
I may have to buy it twice.
All these people are like, oh, I'm getting it for the PC. You should get it for the PC, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good.
Well, the main reason I picked it up for the PC is if I'm eventually ever going to be starting to do streaming, I'm probably going to need it on the PC. So, being that we're running really short for time, we only got like maybe 30 minutes left. Why don't we try to get some of the news topics?
Yeah, makes sense.
Oni, why don't you go ahead and pick up one for us?
All right. Well, at the New York Toy Fair this past weekend, it was basically slipped up that Crash Bandicoot is coming back.
At least supposedly.
Yeah, but it I don't know. I might be a little fanboyish about Crash Bandicoot coming back. I look forward to this.
I'm not even sure how they'd bring that back.
Pull it out of Activision's grasp and actually make a better one, except for, because Activision, like Universal Studios, like those Crash Bandicoot games were they weren't that good.
Well, I didn't mean like it just in terms of like licensing and things like that, but how they'd actually transform it into like a game that's comparable to the stuff of current times.
Yeah. Well, for one, if they made like a reboot of like Crash Team Racing, that would be awesome. I don't know if you ever played that.
I will be honest, I'd never actually played I don't think I actually got to play any of the Crash Bandicoot games.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, I mean, they did Rayman Legends was really good, and that was like every other Rayman game I ever played, with the exception of like the music levels and stuff.
Well, I know they actually tried to go into like a full 3D world one time before. I think it was actually for the Nintendo 64, wasn't it, for Rayman?
I'm not sure.
It was a long time ago.
I don't remember.
Think of the last time I touched an N64. It's been like forever, probably almost 20 years now.
I think the closest I've gotten to the Nintendo 64 anytime recently was playing the upgraded version of Perfect Dark on the Xbox 360.
Oh, how was that?
Awful.
It's really difficult to try to translate a old single thumbstick game to a dual thumbstick controller.
Not too bad.
I was surprised that one wasn't delisted as well.
Perfect Dark Zero.
Yeah, no, the original remake. But I actually enjoyed it, like the upscaled resolution and everything. I think it translated over pretty well, even with one analog stick being dual thumbsticks.
It was possible to play it. It just didn't feel the same, which is what I was hoping for. Didn't really get a whole lot of nostalgia factor for it because it's a very, very old game.
It only came out in 2000.
That was 16 years ago.
Yeah, that's quite a while ago.
You youths. Get off my lawn or something, I don't know.
Charles, you can't be that much older than us.
35.
Only 4 years older than me then.
Yeah, you're barely older than me.
Any of you actually get to play the first Watch Dogs?
I did not
No, I
play
can't
that.
say I did.
They're going to be coming out with the Watch Dogs 2, expected to be released in April of 2017.
Saw that.
I wasn't expecting to actually see a release for that, because the first one wasn't really well received.
First one's only
It
$13
wasn't?
right now.
Well, I would say it wasn't as well received as they would have hoped anyway.
Well,
So I wasn't expecting to develop a sequel
critically
for it.
very successful, but they didn't post the sales numbers that I think they were hoping for. And part of that was probably because GTA 5 came out about the same time, didn't it?
GTA 5? No, that was way after.
Something came out around the same time as Watch Dogs, and it basically siphoned people away from that game. And I can't remember what it was.
Because I think Watch Dogs, the original one, was supposed to be one of the... I'm not sure if it was available right on the release of the Xbox One, but it was available soon after, at least.
I think it's interesting that Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs apparently take place in the same universe.
What? How
That's
does that even work?
You know, the guy... Okay, so you remember... spoiler alert here if you haven't played Black Flag yet, which at this point it's dude, get on it already. But in Black Flag, there's a character who... he's trying not to hear about it. So there's a guy, the guy that runs the company, the Abstergo Games thing, right? Leaves and goes to another city. And anyways, in Watch Dogs, one of the guys who you kill is that guy.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's trippy.
Yeah, but that's a legit thing. Yeah, so they take place in the same universe.
I'm going to have to look up
I love that sort of crap. That's awesome.
That is neat.
Speaking of Assassin's Creed, they're actually not going to be releasing another Assassin's Creed game this year. They're delaying it.
Hallelujah.
That's crazy.
It's weird that they're not
it'll
actually
come
releasing
out
one every year
done
now.
instead of half done.
And horribly broken on PC.
God, those guys, anything to make a buck, I swear. That's one of the reasons why I love Blizzard, man. They're just when it's done. And you know what? I don't think I've ever played a game by them that was broken with the exception of the auction house on Diablo 3, which is just a bad idea.
Yeah, that one wasn't so great. The last Assassin's Creed, because admittedly I'm only PC these days, unfortunately I just don't have the time or the money. The last Assassin's Creed, that's the one that was about the twins in Industrial Revolution Britain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I started playing with that one, but I haven't actually gotten around to finishing it.
And it was just broken?
I know they had some problems with it on PC. I don't think they have as many problems as they did with the previous one, which I think was Unity, wasn't it?
Unity was a nightmare. People with no faces, just eyeballs and teeth.
Yeah.
Oh!
slipping through the ground, and you're chasing somebody down to assassinate him, and all of a sudden you're underneath the city, breakdancing.
I think even when they did fix it, they had a problem with the water effects that just acted like a strobing light that would have given people seizures. So
yeah, it was.
I have that problem in Battlefront with Han Solo for some reason. Anytime I play him, it's just this horrible bright strobe, and I cannot see anything.
Battlefront.
Yeah, it hurts me. It really, really hurts me.
I really wanted to like that game, but I just can't.
Yeah.
All my friends are telling me not to buy it.
I wouldn't. No, it just wasn't worth it.
Well, I think if they would have just included everything that they're putting out for DLC in the original game, it probably would have been a lot better.
Wait, have they announced the DLC yet?
I don't think so. I haven't really been paying attention to it because I don't play the game that often.
Well, the whole thing about the DLC thing really kind of gets under my skin because it's just an excuse for these people to put out a game that's not finished. That's how I feel about it. In some cases, it's legitimately okay, you played a full game, you've had it for a while, and now we're adding some content to it. What they did with Red Dead Redemption with the zombie thing and all that stuff's great.
Well,
but then you have essential things that they just don't release with the regular release, and they call it DLC. It's no, actually, this is the other part of that game that you bought that we didn't have time to put in there because we had to hurry up and put it on shelves. It's laziness and it's greed.
See, I really like the DLC that they're doing for Fallout, which does naturally segue then into a topic from our news list. I really feel like the Fallout experience was complete. Buggy, no question. They're always buggy when they come out.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like this story was complete, and the new stuff coming looks really neat to me. Like the robot building. Yes, please.
I just won't be picking up the DLC for that just because I can't go back to that game.
Oh no? Suck too much time?
131 hours before I finish the campaign.
Oh dear God.
So, yeah, I'm done with Fallout 4.
They've got isn't one of the DLCs going to take place in Maine?
Yeah, some sort of ocean-going thingy.
That's interesting.
I think it will be. I'm looking forward to that.
But on the topic of Fallout 4, I know they're increasing the price of the season pass from $30 all the way up to $50 because supposedly they're planning to make more DLC than they were originally planning on.
Yeah, they've announced 4, and they're going to have more throughout 2016 that they haven't announced just yet. So it looks to be, I mean, how to put it? I'm in a good position. I did buy the season pass right away, so I feel like but the other side of that is, I can see people getting ticked off about it, but it sounds like the content, fingers crossed, is worth it. We'll have to see how that develops, but I don't feel like that's cheating. At least I don't.
Yeah, even for the people that still haven't gotten the season pass and still want to get it for the original price of $30, I think they have just barely over a week to still pick it up.
Right.
First.
Yeah, of course it won't be a week by the time this actually makes it up on the YouTube, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm
time to either
Fallout 4
do
yesterday.
it or get off the pod.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do we have?
Just one more quick thing about Fallout 4, and I will be done. I decided that I was going to play through my first game as a woman, and of course you have the whole story, oh my god, my baby's missing, whatnot, and I get out into the wasteland, and then there's the first quest to build a settlement, and like, oh, I can build things? Yeah, take care, baby, I'm going to be over here, building stuff.
What did you think of the building system in that one when it was originally launched?
I've sunk so much time into it, and I do like what I can build, but I don't like two things. First of all, just some of the way some of the structures snap is absolutely stupid, because you have a foundation and then things snap to the side of the foundation. It's a foundation. It goes on top. The second thing that bothers me is just the caps, the limits on that. And I guess maybe that's engine-based or something, I don't know. But of course, there's the circumvention for that with dropping weapons and whatnot. And I abuse the hell out of that. I absolutely do. I'd rather have a gigantic, rusty tower palace thing than a rusty shanty. That's me.
What actually drove me nuts with that was trying to build a fence around the place just to keep it defended. Because none of the walls snap together for that.
Oh, you know what you do for that, though? What I did at least, and this is where the foundation thing comes in. If you make your foundation such that you've got a nice flat level, you basically set your first foundation at the highest point along where your fence is going to be, and then you make foundation all around, then you can put walls attached to that. And that's how I dealt with it.
I don't really have to worry about it anymore, though. The first the only one that I really made was back in Sanctuary.
Okay, I gotcha.
So, Jay, why don't you go ahead and pick up a news topic for us?
Yeah. I was just looking at them thinking, oh, this would be a pretty good story to talk about. And then we kind of segued into a couple of the ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think the 20,000 fans sign a petition to have Deadpool host SNL is pretty awesome.
I'm actually hoping that goes through. I know he actually responded to that himself, didn't he, by releasing a video for it?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't had much
see if I can
chance to
find
follow
that.
up on it.
But I think it wasn't actually a video. It was just a bunch of recordings that he made and then put it together as a still screen video and then uploaded it to YouTube or something like that. About him once getting invited to the show and then having Devil respond way. I'm not even trying to explain that. Let me see if I can find the video itself.
I mean, Deadpool is probably the greatest thing ever.
Have you still not played the game that they released?
I haven't, because every time it goes on sale, I'm not in a place to pay for it, and I don't want to pay full price. Even though I love Deadpool, I just am pretty frugal, so...
I've heard a lot of bad things about the PC version in the past, too, so I've been a little sheepish about trying to pick it up for the PC.
I mean, it looks really funny. I've watched a lot of clips, so... I probably know basically everything there is to know about the game, short of actually playing it.
And another thing in the meantime that we probably should touch on is game trailers getting shut down after 13 years.
Yeah.
That was a little depressing. Because they're pretty much a big reason why a lot of YouTubers do the stuff that they're doing now. And unfortunately, that's part of the reason that they actually got shut down, is they were having to compete with people on YouTube, and they just couldn't do it.
You know, sometimes in life there's just not enough space for two things that are, you know, doing the same thing, and other times there's plenty of space. And I think that, you know, a situation like this, it's just more about access to, you know, people as far as like viewers and stuff. It's just easier in a place like YouTube.
So, Charles, is there any news topic that you want to pick?
Well, back to being an old man who hates the youth. That new Monopoly thing about the credit card, like, you know, okay, I can get making the change. It makes a certain amount of sense. I think it's like, oh God, come on, fiscal dollars. How else is your old father, who has only 2 jokes, going to keep his joke about, what if this was all real money? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the other side of that is that it's not enough. I mean, the problems with Monopoly is that it's a terrible game. It's just awful. It's how you lose friends and family. You need to do something else. I'm sorry. If you like it, power
that's
to
the best part of it.
Losing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game. It's supposed to be a hostile game.
If
like,
you want to lose friends and family, play Secret
like,
Hitler.
You can't even move around the map in Monopoly without losing money. Like, it's like, I mean, I always play by the actual, like, standard rules, and some people get irritated about that, but it's like,
you know, play with free parking?
No. Well, you land on free parking, you get nothing. You just, you know, it's just free parking. But, like, say, for example, like, you're going through and you land on a particular space, and you're like, oh, well, I don't want to buy this. Like, technically, in the real rules, it has to go up for auction so anybody can buy it. Well, but it has to be purchased and stuff like that. And like, people just, you know, they don't like to play that way. And, you know, if you play by the actual rules where everybody's sort of suffering, it's a little bit better. It seems more, I think, more harsh and heartless, but it's a little bit easier to sort of get whooped up by somebody.
But that's the thing about it. As I read at one point, I have no idea if it is true, but I read at one point that the whole thing was supposed to be an analogy for how awful capitalism is. And it's like, playing Monopoly, okay, I can see that, because this is just terrible. Just, I don't like any of these people or this system. Go away.
Well, when you put, like, your dear old granny, while you're playing Monopoly, you put her out on her rear end. Because, you know, she's mortgaged everything she has and can't afford it anymore. I mean, it's, you know,
sorry, Grandma.
It's funny. I mean,
should have invested more prudently.
Sorry is the worst game ever when it comes to getting into arguments with people.
No,
that game
Risk is the worst.
Oh.
I have seriously had an hours-long argument over a single turn in Risk. It was no.
It's been a long time since I played any of those games, but the one thing that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way with that news article about the Monopoly was we talked about how the banker always cheats.
What?
Yeah.
That's not true.
I play as the banker almost every time I've ever played that game, and I've never cheated as the banker. So
how do you cheat as the banker? Like, you take a couple extra dollars.
I think
out
when
of
you're
bill?
like they think when you're counting the money, you're occasionally slipping yourself with that.
Oh, come on now. Like, it's just a game. Like, what is the point of cheating, anyways?
Or you're shortchanging people.
I played Chutes and Ladders with my kids about a week ago, and I was immediately reminded why I don't play Chutes and Ladders anymore.
It's complete random.
We played for an hour and 10 minutes. I mean, I'm 33. My son is 8 and my youngest is 4. And it was hard enough for me, but they were like going nuts, but they wanted to finish, and I'm just like, oh God, like, can this just like never end? It was the worst. That game sucks. That game, it ruins relationships because you want to kill yourself. You can't have a relationship when you're dead. So,
and God, it's true though.
It's just like, oh my God, why did I hit this freaking slide?
Why on earth
right now?
have I decided to play this game? Yeah. I must actually hate myself. Goodbye, world.
It feels like Groundhog Day.
So true.
It's like Ned Ryerson, you know? You're just like, oh my God, please just make it stop. Like, that is the closest I've ever come to wanting to cheat at a game playing with my kids. And it wasn't even for me. I wanted to cheat and have one of them move forward, so I would like. There was a point
just to
where,
get it to end?
there was a point where it was like my daughter's piece was gonna land on the on one of the chutes, and I was just gonna move her like one piece farther. And my son caught me and is like, "No, she's supposed to land here, and she's supposed to go down the slide." I'm like,
no, can't you see I'm trying to save us all?
Yeah.
That's what you get for teaching them.
I don't want to be like, hey, like, you know, we're cheating just to get this over with. I'm not going to reinforce bad, gamesmanship or poor sportsmanship or anything like that. But like, I just was like, oh my God, like, of all the times that I could have been slick, he had to catch me at this one moment and just extended the life of this game by 20 minutes. It was excruciating. Anyways, that's enough about chutes and ladders.
Next thing you know, he's deflating footballs.
Yeah, exactly.
Ow, I'm in Indiana. That hurts a lot.
Oh, jeez.
That Deflategate thing, I mean, not to get into, like, that was so stupid. Like, it was such a witch hunt. People are mad. I mean, I'm not a football fan by any stretch of the imagination. I do not like the NFL. I think that it's all crap. But, making it, like, trying to make a federal case, literally, out of, like, a piece of, like, what is it? Like, tampering with equipment's like a 15-yard penalty, and they tried to turn it into, like, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit and, like, get the greatest quarterback of all time kicked out of the game, and, like, it's just ridiculous, man.
Over saggy balls.
Haters gonna hate. That's it.
I'm okay.
Yeah, Oni kind of killed that one.
As always.
So let's see, what else do we got? I think we can avoid the Donald Trump crap.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Not a big Trump fan.
Not a big politics fan. Quite frankly, if I have to discuss politics with my father one more time, I may literally jump off a cliff. So discussing it with you fine folk, no thank you.
I wasn't really going to get into the politics aspect of it just as much as it was really, really weird that I saw that Johnny Depp was playing him in a short video.
Oh, that was a really funny video, by the way. I watched that.
Was it? I kind of avoided it.
I watched a short couple-minute video, and when I was watching it, it's just by itself. Even looking at it, you couldn't tell it was Johnny Depp.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job on the makeup. But there's like a couple of like sort of like recurring gags during the video. I mean, it was really funny, and I laughed many times.
I have to make a point to watch it then.
It really is. I mean, it's tongue in cheek, and honestly, all politicians, all public figures are fair game for comedy or commentary or anything. So, I mean, even if I was a Trump supporter, I would have laughed at that because it was just funny.
Yeah, and we already touched base on the Rocket League for Halo 5. I think there's only two other things left. There's Sci-Fi is actually developing a VR show for the Oculus Rift. I'm kind of curious to see how that goes.
I think things that are developed specifically for the Rift will turn out pretty good. I can't speak to the writing on the show, obviously, but I think that I think a lot of things are just going to have that shoehorned in like motion capture was for the longest time, and it's not going to. I don't know. VR makes me anxious.
Well, I'm just kind of curious of how they're actually going to do that. Are they going to try to do it as like you being a character in the show, and then have it like you make decisions as like how the show's going to play out?
Or is it going to be like restricted camera? You look at what they want you to look at, because that's...
Well, then it's not really going to be VR, though, if they're...
Yeah, exactly.
When I hear about the Oculus Rift, I'm immediately reminded of one of the jokes on Family Guy, where they talk about Justin Long and how Hollywood tried so many times to make Justin Long a star, but America just didn't want it. But they just, like, never gave up. And then eventually he became like somebody who people knew about. That's how I feel about the Oculus Rift. I think that all these companies are throwing all this money into it to develop software for it and everything, and it's going to ultimately just be like a total bust.
Well, I think
People
it's definitely going to take a long
shirts.
time to get off the ground, especially with the way some retailers are handling it. Because I know Best Buy finally started offering pre-orders for it, but they're only offered in bundles with PCs.
Oh, you're kidding.
That's all I've seen so far. Everything's like $1,300 and up.
That's butts.
Is there really a need for that, though?
I wouldn't think so. I think most of the people that are actually going to be picking up the tech probably already have a PC that'll run it, or at the most probably just need like to get an updated graphics card for their PC to run it.
Oh, but I mean, is there really a need for the Oculus Rift? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's one of those things that has me really kind of suspicious of the whole idea of it. Is I love the idea of VR. I mean, obviously, it's awesome, but, like, how necessary is it? And, like, that's going to be the thing, I think, that determines whether or not it's successful, just like 3D. Mm-hmm. For monitors and stuff. Like, nobody's buying 3D TVs and shit anymore. Excuse me.
Except for maybe me.
Yeah, but
I'm looking for a 4K
like,
resolution 3D TV.
They're not flying off the shelves like they were. It's sort of like one of those things where it had its moment and it's sort of slipping away. And I see them trying to position the Oculus Rift as... And all the other VR things as going to be more necessary than, say, 3D. But I just don't foresee that actually coming to pass. I think it's going to be like 4 or 5 years of serious development and hype, like behind all the software and stuff that comes out with it, and then it's just going to go bye-bye.
Well, I think that part of that has to do, too, with consumer expectations. Because if we're really frank about it, what we all want is a holodeck. We've come to think of VR in those terms, and there's no way that any tech right now can come up to that. And I think for that reason alone, the VR road is just too much to hoe.
Well, I think the closest thing to like a holodeck right now is probably going to be something like the Microsoft HoloLens.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's actually alternate reality.
I see that as becoming a necessary...
Or not alternate reality, but augmented reality is what I think I was looking for. Yeah. Where it's actually taking the environment around you and adding things into it with the HoloLens technology.
That's new to me. I hadn't heard of the HoloLens.
Yeah, they showed it last year at E3, right?
I believe so. I think they showed a Halo demo. I think it was for Halo 5. And then they also had the big Minecraft thing. And then they had something after that for, it was some kind of mini game with an arm-mounted blaster shooting monsters and stuff crawling out of the walls and things like that.
Mm.
Yeah, that was a cool looking demo.
That was awesome. I mean, clearly they set it up so that, I mean, this worked flawlessly so that, like, you would see, like, an absolutely perfect sort of vision of where this could go. But it's something like that is going to be, I think, once they nail the technology and they figure out a way for this device to sort of scan the environment in real time and, you know, be able to, like, update as you move around and stuff without getting overloaded with, like, processing information and be able to insert these virtual objects into your physical world so that you can interact with them in a way. That's really where it's going to be at. I think that VR is like, let's sit on the couch and like you watch people like playing like, you know, games like on like the React channel and stuff like that, and these kids are going like, you know, like looking around and like getting all twisted in their seats and stuff, and like it's just not going to be. I'm sorry, I don't mean to poo-poo it. It's not going to be a thing. Not the way that I think augmented reality stuff will be.
Well, I think the biggest hang-up for augmented reality and virtual reality tech right now is just going to be having people develop content for them. if we don't get that behind it, they're never going to take off the ground.
Yeah.
Just going to crash and burn right away.
But that's in our risk-averse production environment. That's too much for most companies. That's another reason I think we're not going to see a lot, because who's going to spend production dollars on that when they could spend production dollars on things that have been proven and they know drive sales?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how you know we're like kind of artistically and culturally dead. I mean, how many things are they going to remake? I just saw the other day they're remaking The Thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with The Thing. Why do you have to make a new one? You know?
Because it's safe.
Exactly. I want new stuff.
Were they remaking Pete the Dragon 2 or something like that?
Yeah, I saw a poster for that.
I just could not believe that. I mean, why destroy a classic?
Dollars?
No imagination. All the really imaginative
to be fair, it's really
ideas
hard to be
like
original in this day and age.
Budget.
Yeah.
I mean, everything under the sun has been done already. Ideas and everything. I mean, I think that there's only like 8 stories that actually exist, and everything's a variation on those themes. So it's like, you know, I understand that and I appreciate it, but there's something to be said for, you know, trying out a new intellectual property every now and then, and I just don't see a lot of it, or really much of anything nowadays. And I hate to sound like an old timer and be like, you know, back in the day. But that's how it's starting to feel, is like, you know, where are the fresh ideas? I can't even hear a song on the radio now that isn't a throwback, like a callback with a sample to some awesome song that came out in like the early 90s. Like, I'm a big R&B fan, and I heard the other day some song that used a sample out of this like amazing song from like 1991. And I was just like, really? Like, you guys couldn't come up with your own idea? It's just, you know, it's the sure thing. You're absolutely right.
There was one thing that I actually saw in the news the other day that I didn't actually read in time to put it into the news topic for the email. Was fans went back and found the 35mm version of Star Wars and went ahead and remastered it.
Fantastic.
That's amazing.
Cool. The thing that I'm kind of worried about is how we actually going to get that in our hands without a bunch of copyright bullshit.
They did. They did the despecialized editions. Now those were similar in effect, and I forget how it was they were able to do that and meet legal requirements. You had to affirm that you owned the original discs, any of the collected editions, and then they had some huge disclaimer about how this was for archival purposes to preserve video history or something like that, and that somehow, that somehow met the requirements, but I'm not sure exactly how that works.
I did read about those particular versions a little bit, but I think the way that they actually got the videos themselves was they went and pulled a lot of the newer footage that wasn't edited and then mixed and matched it with stuff that was from the original films.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to know somebody out there is looking out for us. And you know, saving George Lucas's work from himself. Like, God.
I was actually surprised to hear that they weren't having the same director for all 3 of the new movies.
That surprised me as well.
They didn't have the same director for the original trilogy.
Well, I mean, they still had George Lucas involved with all 3 of them.
Yeah, but I mean, he only directed the first one. He hired his film school professor to direct the second. Yeah, Kirshner. He by far. I mean, that's the best of all of those movies. Is Empire Strikes Back. But yeah, I mean, the only time George Lucas in the entire thing ever had like full control over everything that was going on was with the prequel trilogy, and those movies were absolute rubbish.
Well, and that's I say about George Lucas what I normally do about Stephen Moffat. They're both better when they're being rewritten. They have great ideas, and they can't write for human beings.
But see, what did they say was like the only thing that he gave them as direction? The
faster and more intense.
Faster and more intense. Yeah, faster and more intense. Like, okay, but these guys sound like robots now. All they do is walk. They stop and they say something, and then they walk. There's no like practical effects. It's like yeah, exactly. It's just everything seems dead and weird and like, like if you're not with me, then you're my enemy. like supposed to be like one of the most profound lines of dialogue ever, and the character's like arc, and it ends up coming out like he's reading cue cards. Like, are you serious?
Are you implying that in some way the performing was not the best in the prequels? What?
Yeah,
What?
no, right?
Oh, that's crazy. That's totally correct.
It's I actually a buddy of mine who's a little bit younger. He's 27. Never really saw Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and he was talking about Star Wars movies though, and he was talking about the prequels. He's like, "Oh, those movies are so good," all of this. And I'm like, "Dude, you have no idea what a good movie is if you think those are good." I'm sorry. I mean, don't mean to insult your taste, but like, there's a serious difference between the magic that was the movies that came out starting in '77 and what came out at the end of the last millennium. I mean, for all intents, I feel like Doomsday did come.
Yes, you're not wrong.
Jay, are we actually running over the end time for you?
Yeah, I got a couple more minutes.
Oni, why don't you go ahead and cover us on the Doom topic, and then we'll wrap this up.
Doom's gonna have a 13-hour campaign.
That's long for an FPS.
Yeah, but it's also longer, like way longer than it takes to beat the original. Like the original, you can probably beat in like an hour or two.
Well, I mean, you can speed run through the original too.
But yeah, id Software tweeted that up to Unreal that it's basically going to be 13 plus hour in the campaign, depending on difficulty. So it's gonna be fun.
Well, I'm kind of curious how they're going to fill that campaign up, because if it's going to be playing like the original, 13 hours is kind of long.
Yeah, because I know in the original there was a lot of like kind of exploring, like you got to get the key, you got to find where the key goes to be able to progress. And
I'm hoping they throw in some like the old style secrets that they did for like the original games that they had for like Doom and what was it, Shadowrun? Yeah,
Doom, Shadow Warrior.
That's it, thank you. Shadow Warrior.
Yep. Yeah, it's gonna be playing back to like the old school FPS kind of. So I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, the secrets, like finding a BFG or something like that, like early on, chainsaw.
I hope. Have you seen any pictures of the HUD?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I really hope that they do the thing with the face. Like, I feel like I said that the last time.
You did.
I really hope that they do that, because I love that feature. Like, where you just, like, you see the percentage of your health, but you really get a sense of how hurting you are by what the look on the guy's face. Like, are his eyeballs basically coming out now? Like, okay, it might be time to heal,
Well, even if they don't have that, I mean, if you're picking up like maybe the PC version, or if they have mod support in the console versions, which is possible, but I'm not going to count on it, you may be able to find a mod that'll actually have that built into it if they don't have it in the original one.
Yeah. Be pretty awesome, though.
Yeah. So I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're, of course, going to be at least trying to meet back up in 2 weeks. Whoops. Did you guys actually hear that audio?
Yeah,
yeah,
sure
you're going to
Whoops.
be back in 2 weeks. Yep, 2 weeks.
No, I meant the audio from the video. I just started playing when I popped it up.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, the moaning sound.
It was a French ambulance.
No, I didn't hear anything. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, we'll be meeting back up in 2 weeks. See you guys later.
All right, guys. Later.